Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline, and I'm here to share a journey filled with love, betrayal, and the resilience it took to reclaim my life. It all began in San Diego, California, where, at 28 years old, I was working as an office coordinator, balancing my routine while looking for something more meaningful. Little did I know that joining a fitness studio would change everything. One bright morning, I entered Alex's fitness studio, feeling a bit out of place among the dedicated gym-goers. I wasn't athletic, and seeing everyone moving with confidence made me feel self-conscious. But I was determined to make a change. That's when I met Alex, the owner and a charismatic fitness trainer with a knack for making people feel at ease. With his easy smile and magnetic energy, Alex soon became someone I looked forward to seeing each day. Our connection deepened over time, transforming from casual acquaintances to close friends, and eventually we started dating. Spending time with Alex made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt before. He was supportive, understanding, and genuinely kind. It felt like everything I had ever wanted was right in front of me. Yet, despite the happiness we shared, there was an undeniable tension between me and Alex's younger sister, Beatrice. Beautiful, poised, and extremely demanding, Beatrice had her own ideas about the kind of woman she thought her brother should marry. To her, I was simply not good enough. Her disapproval hung over our relationship like a dark cloud, constantly creating rifts. As our wedding approached, my excitement was overshadowed by a growing sense of dread. One evening, as I prepared the final touches for our big day, I discovered that some of my wedding jewelry was missing. Confused and panicked, I searched everywhere. Finally, when I asked Alex about it, he admitted that he had given the jewelry to Beatrice as a family gift. Shocked and hurt, I confronted him, feeling betrayed that he would take something so precious without asking me. Our argument escalated, and in a moment of anger, Alex grabbed me, pulling my hair and shouting at me about my attachment to material possessions. I was left stunned by his unexpected aggression, questioning everything I thought I knew about the man I loved. Despite the shocking confrontation, the wedding was only days away, and I found myself caught between my love for Alex and the emotional scars his actions had left on me. I reasoned that he might have been under stress and hoped that, after the wedding, things would settle down. But deep down, I couldn't shake the hurt and betrayal I felt. His choice to give my jewelry to Beatrice without asking was painful enough, but the physical aggression and his refusal to understand my perspective weighed heavily on my heart. As I focused on the wedding preparations, I tried to stay positive, pouring my energy into every detail: the flowers, the decor, the music, everything I hoped would make the day beautiful. Beatrice, however, was a constant thorn in my side. She frequently showed up uninvited, offering criticisms about my choices, and making snide comments that I wasn't right for Alex. Her disapproval seemed to seep into every part of the wedding, and despite my attempts to ignore her, her presence reminded me that this wouldn't simply go away after I became Alex's wife. On the morning of the wedding, I stood before the mirror in my dress, a beautiful flowing gown that made me feel like a princess. My best friend, Emma, was helping me adjust my veil and could sense my anxiety. "Caroline, you look stunning," Emma said, smoothing the fabric of my gown with a warm smile. "Alex is going to be blown away when he sees you." I forced a small smile, but I couldn't hide my worry. "I just hope Beatrice doesn't pull anything today." Emma's expression hardened. "Don't even think about her. This day is about you and Alex. Just focus on that." As I walked down the aisle, my heart raced, and I momentarily forgot about Beatrice, the jewelry, and the tension. All I could see was Alex waiting for me at the altar, a soft smile on his face. Our ceremony was beautiful, and the vows we exchanged felt genuine. For that fleeting moment, I thought that maybe, just maybe, everything would work out. We could start fresh, leaving the past behind. But when I glanced at the pews, I noticed Beatrice, sitting with her arms crossed, her expression cold. She looked completely uninterested in the ceremony, and her disapproving gaze seemed to cut right through me. I tried to ignore her, focusing instead on the love and joy in the room, but the nagging feeling in my stomach wouldn't go away. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception, which was held at a stunning banquet hall adorned with lights and flowers. For the first time in days, I let myself relax, laughing and dancing with friends and family. Alex and I shared our first dance, and I felt a glimmer of hope that maybe this new chapter could indeed be a happy one. Then, as I stepped away from the dance floor to catch my breath, I noticed Beatrice slipping into the bridal suite. Something about her hurried movements set off alarm bells in my mind. Quietly, I followed her, peeking through the slightly open door. My heart sank as I watched her standing by my wedding dress, scissors in hand, cutting through the delicate fabric with deliberate precision. Unable to hold back, I pulled out my phone and recorded her actions. With my hands trembling, I finally stepped into the room, my voice shaking with fury. "What do you think you're doing, Beatrice?" I demanded, struggling to keep my voice steady. Beatrice whirled around, surprise flashing in her eyes before she quickly composed herself. "Caroline, I was just fixing a tear," she stammered, an insincere smile on her face. "Fixing it?" I scoffed, holding up my phone. "I recorded you destroying it. This isn't just some harmless prank. Why are you so determined to ruin everything for me?" Her pretense faded, and her face twisted into a sneer. "You don't belong in this family, Caroline. You're nothing but an outsider trying to play the part of Alex's wife. You're not good enough for him." The venom in her words stung, but I stood my ground. "I'm here because Alex loves me, and you can't change that, no matter how hard you try." Without another word, I stormed out of the suite, my heart pounding as I made my way back to the reception. I found Alex speaking with some guests and pulled him aside, struggling to keep my voice steady. "Alex, you need to see this," I said, showing him the video of Beatrice slicing through my dress. His face shifted from confusion to shock, and then to anger. "I can't believe she did this," he muttered, shaking his head. "I'm going to confront her." "No," I said, my voice firm. "Let's not ruin the day any further. But Alex, you need to understand that this isn't just about her disliking me. She crossed a line." He looked at me with a mix of regret and understanding. "You're right, Caroline. I'm sorry. I should have stood up to her a long time ago." The rest of the evening passed in a blur. I tried to enjoy myself, mingling with guests and cherishing the well wishes from friends and family. But I couldn't shake the image of Beatrice cutting through my dress, nor could I forget the pain of Alex's betrayal with the jewelry. These actions were part of a deeper issue, one that I knew wouldn't simply disappear with time. As the night wound down, I felt a strange mix of relief and dread. Most of the guests had left when Beatrice suddenly took the stage, tapping on the microphone. I froze, a sense of foreboding washing over me as she cleared her throat. "Ladies and gentlemen," she called, her voice overly sweet, "I just wanted to say a few words about my brother and his new wife." Alex shot me a worried look, but I tried to keep my composure, hoping Beatrice would simply give a polite speech and leave. But as she continued, her tone shifted to something far more sinister. "Caroline might look like the perfect bride, but appearances can be deceiving," she said, casting me a smug glance. "Everyone here deserves to know the truth." Murmurs rippled through the crowd, and I felt my stomach churn. Beatrice turned toward her boyfriend, Greg, who stood nearby, looking just as confused as the rest of us. "Just last week," Beatrice continued, her voice dripping with false sincerity, "I caught Caroline at the gym, flirting shamelessly with my boyfriend." Gasps filled the room, and my cheeks burned with a mix of fury and humiliation. "That's not true," I shouted, my voice shaking. "Greg and I were simply talking about fitness routines." But Beatrice smirked, pulling out her phone. She played a short, heavily edited video of me talking with Greg, selectively showing only moments where we laughed or smiled, making it seem more than it was. Alex's face hardened as he watched, disbelief flickering in his eyes. Beatrice, this is absurd, I cried, looking around as murmurs grew louder. Alex, you know me, I'd never do something like that. He looked torn, clearly trying to process what he'd seen, while Beatrice continued to bask in the attention. Oh, please, Caroline, she sneered. Stop playing the victim. Then, before I could react, Beatrice lunged toward me, slapping me hard across the face. The shock rippled through me, and the room fell silent as all eyes turned to witness the unfolding drama. Just as I steadied myself, Alex stepped forward, his expression furious. Enough, Beatrice, he said in a low voice. You've crossed too many lines. Caroline is my wife, and I won't let you treat her like this. Beatrice's face turned red with anger as she looked at him in shock. You're choosing her over me, your own sister? She spat, her voice filled with contempt. Yes, Alex replied firmly. I am. Caroline is my family now, and if you can't respect that, then you need to leave. Her eyes burned with resentment as she stormed out, leaving a wave of whispers and shocked expressions in her wake. I felt humiliated and shaken, but a part of me also felt a sense of vindication. Alex had finally stood up for me, but the scars of Beatrice's cruelty wouldn't heal so easily. After the chaos of the reception, I was left reeling from Beatrice's actions. That night, as Alex and I returned to our hotel suite, he held me close, apologizing over and over. Caroline, I'm so sorry. I never thought she would go this far. She's been difficult, but this was beyond anything I could have imagined. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Alex, it's not just about the wedding or the lies she told. She tried to humiliate me in front of everyone, and you took something so precious from me, the jewelry meant for our future, just to appease her. I can't keep letting her undermine our relationship. Something has to change. Alex nodded, looking remorseful. You're right, I should have stood up to her sooner. I just didn't realize how deep her resentment was until now. But I promise, I'll make this right. The next day, as we packed up our things, I decided it was time to take matters into my own hands. I reached out to Beatrice, arranging to meet her at a nearby cafe. I knew this was my opportunity to stand up for myself once and for all, and I wasn't going to let her continue to walk over me. When I arrived, I saw her seated at a table in the corner, her face a mask of irritation as she saw me approach. I took a deep breath, determined not to let her see my anxiety. What do you want, Caroline? Beatrice asked, her tone dripping with disdain. I wanted to talk about what you did at the wedding, I replied calmly, though my hands trembled under the table. You had no right to spread lies and try to destroy my relationship with Alex. You crossed a line, and you need to face the consequences of your actions. She rolled her eyes, completely unfazed. Please spare me the lecture. You're just an outsider, trying to pretend you belong in our family. You don't deserve to be with Alex. I felt a wave of anger rise in me, but I forced myself to stay calm. That's where you're wrong, Beatrice. I love Alex, and he loves me. No matter how much you try to push me out, I'm here to stay, and if you don't back off, I'll make sure everyone knows the truth about you. Her expression shifted slightly, but she quickly regained her composure. And what truth is that, exactly? I held up my phone, showing her the video I had recorded of her cutting through my wedding dress. Her face paled as she watched, realizing the extent of my evidence. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in her eyes. You wouldn't dare, she whispered, her voice laced with uncertainty. Oh, I would, I replied, my voice steady. I have no problem sharing this with Alex's family and friends. Let's see how they feel about your so-called loyalty once they know what you did. Beatrice clenched her jaw, glancing around the cafe, clearly embarrassed by the people watching us. She grabbed her bag and stood up abruptly. You'll regret this, Caroline, she hissed, but I could see the panic in her eyes. As she stormed out, I felt an immense sense of relief wash over me. For the first time, I had stood up to her and taken control of my life. I knew that I was done tolerating her disrespect, and I was ready to start a new chapter without her interference. When I returned to our apartment later that day, Alex was waiting for me with a hopeful look in his eyes. "How did it go?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. I gave him a reassuring smile. "It went better than I expected. Beatrice knows I won't stand for her behavior anymore. I think she finally understands that she can't push me around." He sighed in relief, pulling me into a tight embrace. "I'm so proud of you, Caroline. I should have stood up for you sooner, but I'm here now. We'll get through this together." Over the next few weeks, Beatrice tried reaching out, but I ignored her messages and calls. Alex and I decided to start fresh by moving to a new apartment, far from the drama and closer to my work. We focused on building our life together, creating a space that was just for us. However, Beatrice's troubles were far from over. A few months later, word got out among Alex's extended family and friends about her behavior. She had apparently borrowed a significant amount of money from her friends and family over the years, promising to pay it back, but never intending to. Now that her reputation was tarnished, people were less forgiving, and she found herself isolated, facing legal troubles for failing to repay her debts. She was forced to make amends, and for once, she couldn't rely on Alex or her family to bail her out. For Alex and me, life moved on, and we grew closer than ever. The challenges we faced had only made us stronger. I knew that I had the courage to stand up for myself and protect my happiness, no matter the obstacles. Looking back, I realized that standing up to Beatrice wasn't just about saving my marriage. It was about finding my voice and reclaiming my sense of self-worth. Alex and I had come out of this stronger, ready to face the future hand in hand. With the turmoil behind us, I finally felt at peace. I had fought for my happiness, and in doing so, I had found a deeper strength within myself. Together, Alex and I looked forward to a future filled with love, respect, and the certainty that we could overcome anything together. Thank you for being a part of this intense journey. If you loved watching this story unfold, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more gripping tales like this. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Your support means the world to us.